I, 24F, didn't know my best friend, 24M, of a decade actively had romantic feelings for me until he tried to kiss me all while I took him falling for his lifelong best friend, 25M. I understand that this is a lot. Please take a moment to read it if you can. I genuinely need unbiased assistance. I swear this is my real-life reality right now. I have been staying at my best friend's house recently to escape a domestic violence situation. We have been friends on and off since high school 10 years now. I will refer to him as L. I consider him my best friend, but I acknowledge and respect that I am not his best friend. His lifelong best friend, Nick, is his next-door neighbor, who invited us over a couple of days ago for me to finally meet him. Now, to delve into the complications of everything. L briefly confessed his love for me when we were young teenagers, but I was honest in explaining that we are most compatible as friends, and we agreed to prioritize our friendship. It didn't come up again or even become a consideration for me until yesterday. After I sang him "Happy Birthday," I hugged him, and he leaned in to kiss me. I could not conceal the shock and confusion on my face as I pulled away. I saw him visibly upset and sat him down so we could discuss this. It was not an easy conversation to explain my perspective on our relationship to him, which is entirely based on platonic love and care. When I expressed that I never want to hurt him and asked what would happen if I pursued a romantic relationship with someone else in the future, he broke down crying and left for a drive from 12:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. This was extremely challenging for both of us. When he returned home, we agreed to prioritize our friendship, which we both value deeply above everything else between us. However, he reminded me how much it pains him to think about me being romantic with someone who is not him. I told him that I have been comfortably single for the past 2 years, so there is no immediate plan for me to enter a relationship, and I encouraged him not to dwell on that thought right now. My heart sank a little as I said this to him because it didn't feel entirely truthful. Rewinding to when I met Eltik's childhood best friend, Nick, a few days ago, we connected seamlessly, as if we had known each other for a long time, which was shocking to me. I have difficulty connecting with others, as I have been diagnosed with autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, so when Elle previously described Nick as not a normal person, I felt excited and confident about forming a new friendship with him. Nick mentioned that he had been hearing about me from Elle for the past decade, which I was unaware of. While the three of us were hanging out, Nick and I became engrossed in analyzing our music tastes and bouncing deep, meaningful, introspective, and philosophical topics off one another. I am greatly attracted to intelligence and genuine depth in a person, and I must have accidentally said, "You are so cool," at least a dozen times throughout the night. His face lit up when I expressed my appreciation for and admiration of his authenticity. Elle did not contribute much to the conversations, so I tried to provide openings for him to participate, but he mainly chose to listen and nod along while Nick and I rambled on, often finishing each other's sentences. Not only did Nick and I share a unique understanding of each other right away, but we also had bizarre similarities, such as smoking the same brand of cigarettes, sharing similar styles, enjoying the same obscure songs for the same reasons, and holding like perspectives on topics that I thought no one else even considered. I soon realized that my face hurt from smiling for hours, and I found myself mindlessly staring at him, prompting the realization of, oh no, I think I really like him. When Elle and I left Nick's home, Elle remarked that he had never been able to keep up with the topics Nick wanted to discuss in the way that I did, and he believed that Nick had never really been able to experience that with anyone else. This only excited me further, as I did not consider how Elle must have felt experiencing this from his point of view. I still kept my thoughts and feelings to myself, considering it safest and wisest, and I would hate for anyone to feel that my involvement could create a divide in their lifelong friendship. I have truly never felt this way immediately after meeting someone, and have recognized that I have been thinking about Nick a lot since then, eagerly waiting for the next opportunity he would invite us over again. I have even sent song recommendations to Elle, asking him to share them with Nick and relay Nick's thoughts back to me through him. Elle did not fully disclose what Nick said about any of it, only providing the most vague statements. I suppose I should have viewed this as a sign or foreshadowing. Nick invited us over last night, which we agreed to, but then the kiss attempt happened just beforehand. I suggested that perhaps Elle having some time with Nick could help instead of going on an emotional late-night drive, and that I would hang back and give him space either way. Elle firmly stated that he did not want to see Nick that night. I felt terrible hearing this and pieced together the situation in my mind. Today, things seem okay and relatively normal between Elle and me, though a bit awkward. I genuinely care about Elle and love him as a person, and I would place our friendship above everything. We have been through a lot together, and he is my only true friend. But how am I supposed to distance myself from Nick now that I have developed strong feelings for him and he is my best friend's best friend, living next door? Should I just say, "That's okay, I will stay here," every time Nick invites us over? Must I force myself not to have feelings, in the same way I expect Elle to suppress his feelings for me? Strongly opposing double standards goes against my moral code, so I realize how unfair it would be for me to even consider pursuing Nick. However, I cannot help myself, and I feel guilt and shame about it when considering Elle. This gives me insight into Eltek's inability to stop himself regarding me as well. I believe that Elle having an honest conversation with Nick about this could be beneficial, but I do not think Elle has ever had or will ever have such a discussion, as he is not an open person and has a history of resorting to self-loathing and shutting himself off instead of confronting issues. He requires me to put in the effort to draw tough but necessary conversations out of him. I am completely unaware of Nick's perspective or understanding of any of this, but he is obviously aware of how sensitive Elle is in general and cares about him. It does not feel appropriate for me to think that I have a place in communicating with Nick about this matter. Would it be the most ethical choice to remove myself entirely from this dynamic, thereby becoming completely friendless? I would consider that option more seriously for the sake of the health of their friendship if it did not mean I would become homeless and lose my best friend. No outcome appears fair to any of us. I feel trapped with a heavy burden of impending doom. I greatly appreciate anyone who takes the time to read this and offers their insight on how I should navigate this situation. If nothing else, just expressing this and putting it into the void has helped me at least process it. Am I doomed to cause more harm? Summary. My best friend tried to kiss me, but I have started developing feelings for his next-door neighbor and childhood best friend, and I am conflicted about how to handle our differing emotions. Story 2. I, 19F, have been turned off by my BF, 18M, and I don't know how to proceed. Should I give it a month? Exactly as the title indicates, I do not know precisely what context I should provide, so I will simply mention that he is in college and I am working and studying. We have been together for 1 year. The past 2 or 3 months have been challenging because I felt the relationship was stagnant and, quite frankly, dull. I understand that relationships experience their ups and downs, and that if you are in a long-term relationship, you will encounter periods of boredom at times, so I was not contemplating ending this. I initiated a conversation about what we can do to experience new things together and effectively identified the reason why we have not been. He simply does not have enough money for certain activities. I do not mind covering expenses occasionally, but it is not something I do frequently because he is unemployed, and both rent and bills are exorbitant. Additionally, I need to support my mother back home. He has found a job, but it is one of those inconsistent, unreliable positions. Since he is all the way in college and I have moved out, we do not see each other often, even less now that he cannot afford to travel. I acknowledged this and expressed that I would be more understanding, noting that he is a student and that we are young. I do not want this situation to ruin our relationship because we have time. However, I am living like an adult, and it feels strange being in a relationship with someone who is at a significantly different stage in life than I am. As the years progress, I feel that this gap will only widen. I believe I might become frustrated because he has not been able to give me anything, but I also recognize that I cannot feel that way since he is merely a student. This leads me to question whether I am being unfair and if I should hold him to such expectations, creating a continuous cycle of guilt. I believe my reasoning is valid, so I communicated my understanding to him. He responded by saying he would work hard to find a job and earn some money. I told him not to stress about it because I do not intend to impose expectations meant for someone 25 years old on him, despite feeling as though I am living like one anyway. However, now it appears he has been lackluster in general. I am not receiving much energy, time, or passion in this relationship. At times, it feels like he is not making an effort, even though he claims he is. Even without money, there are countless things we can still do together. It seems he is not meeting my expectations, which I suspect may be unreasonably high, and I often find myself feeling unsatisfied, only to feel guilty about it because I need to acknowledge that we are in different places. Yet, my mind and body cannot move past these feelings. I constantly have to ask for things and guide him, even in relation to basic tasks, which makes me feel as if I am with a child. I feel like I am trying to mold him into someone who already possesses certain qualities I desire. I can imagine that you, the readers, are feeling confused. I, too, am young and utterly perplexed, and I do not know how to express this, so it has become a messy venting session at this point. Anyway, he continues to not show up. It can be as simple as us having plans to call at a specific time, and he provides various excuses as to why we cannot. Or when we have a disagreement, instead of striving to resolve the issue, he remains silent, like a scarecrow. I always have to extend the first olive branch to initiate and drive the conversation toward resolution. I have been a dominant person throughout my life, and I am weary of it. I want a partner to whom I can turn for knowledge and support, and who can provide me with something of value and substance in return. Sometimes, I feel I am too mature for him. I have endured a lot, and I believe I have experienced more than the average 19-year-old. I grew up with an unhelpful father, and my mother deserved more, which is why my standards are high. However, he is either not meeting those standards or not making an effort to do so. He claims he is trying, yet it never feels like anything is changing. I am exhausted from having to take charge in this relationship and being with someone who is so passive and lacking initiative. He is genuinely a sweet and kind person, but he is too laid back in certain aspects. I cannot pinpoint what the issue is. We can go hours without resolving a problem because he cannot take the initiative to drive the conversation. I am over it. This is diminishing my attraction to him. It worries me because I wonder if I will find another man who is patient and kind like him. He possesses qualities that many men today lack, so I feel the urge to hold on, I am uncertain about my emotions and how to proceed. I seek assistance, as this is a last resort for me. I do not want to discuss this with any of my friends, and I feel too young to be stressed about a relationship. However, I love this man and want it to succeed. Should I wait a month for any signs of change? Should I look for something that indicates he is making an effort? How should I approach this conversation with him? Note, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. My mind is scattered, and I am aware that certain details have been omitted.